clicked on this, but regardless, hello.
Let's begin, shall we?
Hello there. Welcome in. Let us get started, as we always do, with our movie puzzle. We got 10 minutes on the clock. 3, 2, 1, let's go. Did we get Joe Pesci again? Yep. This is the exact same puzzle we had... When would that have been? Thursday or Sunday? Alright. Uneventful. Alright, let's go. Not storyboard. Storyboard's dumb. Fill in the grid. We are going to take a shot at this instead. Alright, so we got Lord of the Rings, Return of the King, AI Artificial Intelligence. This is going to be Jude Law. Cold Mountain. This is going to be rough. Kate Blanchett. Okay, we got all those. The rest of them... Yeah, I don't know. So is Ben Kingsley in either? And then Happy Feet. I got no idea. I think Morgan Freeman was in it. Yeah. What was that? Oh. Yeah, AI Artificial Intelligence I have not seen in quite some time. I know Haley Joel Osment is in it. And Jude Law, obviously. I'm not sure who else. And then Hugo. So I know... Let's see, Ben Kingsley was in it. Sacha Baron Cohen. Chloe Grace Moretz. I'm not sure who else was in it. Yeah, I think all of these movies, except maybe Return of the King, I've only seen once, or not at all for Cold Mountain and Happy Feet. Yeah. Alright. We are... We're looking up. Asia Butterfield, that's the kid's name. Or he was a kid. Christopher Lee, so that would be our Return of the King. And then was he in Happy Feet? I don't know who is in Happy Feet, man. I'm gonna guess Ben Kingsley. Nope. Alright, Hugo in AI Artificial Intelligence. Oh, Jude Law was also in it. Okay. And I think he might have been in Cold Mountain too. If Jude Law was in Happy Feet, he's gonna be like half of our puzzle. Elijah Wood, Brittany Murphy. Yeah, voice caster. Could be like anyone. Robin Williams. Okay, Elijah Wood, so that's going to be our Lord of the Rings crossover. He might have been in Cold Mountain as well. He was not. Alright, so we got Brittany Murphy, Hugh Jackman, Nicole Kidman, so I think that's our Cold Mountain crossover. So then who was in this and AI artificial intelligence? I want to scroll to the bottom to see if they have any, like, okay. So not really. So it's really just this group, like Hugo Weaving, Nicole Kidman, Hugh Jackman, Brittany Murphy, Elijah Wood, Robin Williams. It's going to be one of them. Oh, and it's this and AI artificial intelligence. Okay. William Hurt was in it. Brendan Gleeson. Robin Williams was a voice. So was Ben Kingsley. Okay, yeah. That was rough. It's not usual that there are 2 movies on here that I haven't seen, and like I said, the rest of them have been a while since I've seen them. But we got some of it, and we had a duplicate on our Star Wars, so we can close out all of that. And now it's time to get into our reading and writing on our reading and writing stream. We are picking up in scene 62. So we're picking up with Margaret on a train heading to San Francisco. In our previous sequence, we shifted back from following Hélène to following Margaret. So Hélène in San Francisco, kind of wandering around the city, getting acquainted with it, and the last thing we see of her is a photographer taking her picture. Then we jump over to Margaret, who's living near Chicago. She goes into the city for a farmer's market. Following the farmer's market, she wanders the city. She finds a newspaper stand, and on the cover of one of the newspapers is the photograph that was taken that has Hélène in it, and that breaks the spell that was put on Margaret by Seraphina many years ago. And so Margaret remembers Hélène, and she runs on home, packs her stuff, and takes off. So, like I said, we're picking up with her on the train, heading towards San Francisco, and so because we're going to have Hélène and Margaret in the same place, we're going to be able to cut between them until they meet up again, which is coming up shortly, but we'll see how far we get in our editing and if we make it to that point. Alright, so last thing we saw, Margaret at her house, getting in the truck and taking off. Naughty dog. Hi, hello, welcome in. How are you doing? I'm fairly focused. We'll see how long that lasts. Alright, so we're picking up in scene 62. So we're in the interior of a in the passenger cabin of a train at night in 1890. Anxious, Margaret sits, her head propped against the window, looking out at vast forests of Middle America passing by. Pretty good. Nice. Yeah, I'm doing pretty good. Tuesday's my work from home day, so my favorite day of work. And now we're writing, so it's all good. So anxious. Margaret sits. Doesn't get any better than that. Anxious, Margaret sits, her head propped against the window. Gazing out at vast forests of Middle America passing by. We can just say Middle America passing by. Yeah, I just figured this needs to be like one shot in the train. Her head's against the window, just kind of half looking out the window. Because it is really just showing her progression getting to San Francisco. So then we pick up exterior San Francisco train station. We might want to switch this, so we say train station, comma, San Francisco. Exterior train station, San Francisco, day 1890. Yeah, that train ride from Chicago to San Francisco at that time would take quite a bit of time, so she's arriving sometime in the day. Intent, Margaret exits the train. Takes quite a bit of time. Yeah, that is also true. Okay. Exiting the train. Margaret navigates through the crowds of arriving passengers and those there to greet them. Okay, exiting the train, Margaret navigates through the crowds of arriving passengers and those there to greet them. What's wrong with it? I think that's perfectly good action with good voice. Okay. I was just wondering if it was too wordy, explaining what I mean by crowds. Because it's both arriving passengers and people there to greet them, but yeah, I think it works. Nearing a porter, Margaret retrieves the newspaper to ask directions. Without sound. Exiting train, Margaret navigates through crowds of arriving passengers and those eager to greet them. The arena porter, Margaret retrieves a newspaper. Paper. Task direction. Yeah. Passengers and their waiting loved ones. Yeah. I just feel like those there to greet them is more non-specific in case whatever. It's not a huge deal. I'm not too worried about it. I think these two lines are clear enough what we need to see. Basically, her exiting the train, there's other people around, and then probably a mid shot of her with the newspaper with the picture talking to someone dressed as a porter. Yeah, so we know how she's trying to find directions. It's serviceable. That's what we're going for. Serviceable. Major! Hi, hello. How are you doing? How has your afternoon been? Alright, this next scene we already went through once, but we are going to go through again, just in case. Afternoon's been chill. Yeah, like... I got nothing. I was taking in my hollow air sprite to try to get just more drops, and just everything that dropped I already had mastered. I got another dream cube, and I was like, give me the punk. It's the only one we need. But, yeah. Hopefully, what is it, Thursday or Saturday, they'll have the boosted drop rates again, and might get better luck then. But I'm glad your afternoon was chill. Alright. So Margaret retrieves her newspaper. Same. Wait, there? Which there? Oh. Yeah, because it's not, yeah, I was thinking the wrong thing. Yep. I scrolled off of it, so I wasn't sure. Of course, even the stuff we've gone through, we still find stuff to edit. Alright. Exterior, Chinatown, San Francisco, same. 1890. Hélène roams through the neighborhood that has become home to numerous Asian immigrants. Stumbling into her path, an old man cuts her off. I want to invert this. Cutting her off, an old man stumbles into her path. Has become home is passive. Yes. So should I just remove that? Hélène roams through the neighborhood, home to numerous Asian immigrants. Just do that. What are you doing? Okay. Alright. Exterior, Chinatown, San Francisco, same. Hélène roams through the neighborhood, home to numerous Asian immigrants. Cutting her off, an old man stumbles into her path. Hélène looks him over. He's in his 70s, Japanese, but doesn't seem to be in control of himself. They're taking them. His voice is forced, the pitch bifurcated. Hélène. His, not is. In, oh, his 70s, not in his 70s. He's in his 70s, yes. We've gone through the scene, it should be quick to get through. Every line we have to fix something. Alright. Old man. They're taking them. His voice is forced, the pitch bifurcated. Hélène. What? Who are you talking about? Old man. The men with masks. They're taking them. Hélène. Men in masks? Who are they taking? Old man. I don't know. Fuck. They're taking the people. Our people. Hélène, realizing. Our people? Witches? Hunters. The hunters are taking witches? I should probably capitalize. Old man. Yes, yes, yes. Hélène. Where? Can you show me? Dejected, the old man shakes his head. Hélène. Where are they taking them? The old man doesn't respond. Hélène grabs his shoulder. Startled, he recoils. Old man, flustered, responds in Japanese. The old man departs. Hélène remains, baffled. Alright. Had some stumbles, but we got there. So I want to keep this consistent, so I want to have her waterfront pier. Boop. Pier, San Francisco, day 1890. Need another comma and open. Yeah, yeah. It needs a lot of work. Wandering, Margaret searches. Some people buy fresh seafood. PED. I think that's correct. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Wandering Margaret searches. Some pedestrians buy fresh seafood from fishermen. Others just enjoy a stroll. No sign of Hélène. Wandering Margaret searches. Pedestrians buys fresh seafood from fishermen. Do we need some there? Or can we get rid of it? Wandering Margaret searches. Pedestrians... What the? We don't need that one. Some pedestrians buy fresh seafood from fishermen. Others just enjoy a stroll. Or because we have others, do we need that some there? I don't think we need just. Wandering Margaret searches. Some pedestrians buy fresh seafood from fishermen. Others enjoy a stroll. No sign of Hélène. Not knowing where else to go or what else to do, Margaret takes a seat on a bench. Not knowing where else to go or what else to do, Margaret sits on a bench. Unrelenting, Margaret watches. No. Unrelenting, Margaret examines every person who walks past. Okay, I just want to make sure I can see this in my head. So we have her on the pier. She's kind of lost, looking around. People are doing stuff around her. She kind of starts wandering through. She finds a bench. Yeah. Keeps watching the people. Okay. 1890. Yeah. Interior workspace, Dianic Witch Outpost, San Francisco. Same. Standing by the second floor window that looks out at the busy street below, Hélène looks over a map of San Francisco, marked with scattered red X's, surveying. Don't know that we need that first part. Or maybe we put it somewhere else. Hélène looks over a map of San Francisco, marked with scattered red X's, surveying. I guess looks over and surveying is kind of redundant, so we can just say Hélène surveys. A map of San Francisco marked with scattered red X's. Emiko nears. Looks. We'll just. Don't need that. Hélène surveys a map of San Francisco marked with scattered red X's. Emiko nears. Emiko is in her 30s, Japanese American. Emiko is in her mid-30s, Japanese American with brown eyes and long black hair, a Dianic witch. Emiko, still no signs? Still nothing? Hélène, I've been chasing down every lead, but nothing. Emiko looks to the map, considering. Okay, so if this is directly after her interaction with the old man, I think this scene is going to be different. Alright, yeah, so we just need to change it a little bit. What's all this? Missing persons. Emiko looks... So I feel like she'd look to Hélène. Questioning. Why? So let's say when I was out earlier, someone stopped me. When I was out earlier, someone stopped me and told me witches were being taken. By who? I don't know. Okay. No, it would be these. So what's all this inspiration? Who hunters taken? So I'm trying to figure out. Missing. Emiko inspects the map. Okay. Maybe. There we go. If they're keeping him in the city. Where else would they take them? So Emiko has to have a hunch that they're using boats to take the people that they've kidnapped out of the city. Nevermore. Hi, hello, welcome in. How's your week going so far? Going well on vacation. Nice. Might go to the pool tomorrow. Double nice. I hope your vacation is going great. Just have a lot of crap I gotta look over as well. Certification, renewals, and whatnot. All those warehouses along the water. Those warehouses along the water. All those boats coming out in and out every day. Helene looks over the map, assessing. It's worth a look. Resolved. Helene starts toward the door. Emiko, they're my people being snatched up. I want to help. Helene looks back to Emiko. Helene shakes head. I'll let you know if I turn up anything. Helene exits. Okay. So we had to kind of rewrite this scene because we switched around when Helene got the tip to investigate this, so. Let's read back through it and see if it actually works or if I just wrote a bunch of nonsense. Who knows? Could go either way. Interior workspace, Dianic Witch Outpost, San Francisco, same. 1890. Helene surveys a map of San Francisco marked with scattered red X's. Emiko nears. Emiko is in her mid-30s. I feel like these can just be same line. Emiko is in her mid-30s, Japanese American with brown eyes and long black hair, a Dianic witch. Emiko, what's all this? Helene, missing persons. Emiko looks to Helene, questioning. Why? Helene, when I was out earlier, someone stopped me, told me witches were being taken. Emiko, by who? Helene glances to Emiko, expectant. Emiko, hunters. Where are they taking them? Helene, that's what I'm trying to figure out. Helene points to the map. These are all the people who have been reported missing. Emiko inspects the map. They're targeting Chinatown. Helene, but I have no idea where they might be taking them. They could be anywhere in the city. Emiko, if they're keeping them in the city. Helene, what are you thinking? Emiko, those warehouses along the water? All those boats coming out in and out every day? Helene looks over the map, assessing. Worth a look. Resolved, Helene starts toward the door. Emiko, they're my people being snatched up. I want to help. Pausing, Helene looks back to Emiko. Yeah, that would be the... Pausing, Helene looks back to Emiko. Helene shakes head. I'll let you know if I turn up anything. Helene exits. Okay. I don't know if that's quite perfect, but it fixes the timing issue. So we're saying this pier. We want late day. 1890. Okay. Sorry, getting ahead of myself. Let's see, Margaret remains sitting on the bench, watching the foot traffic, exhausted, her eyelids start to droop. Watching. Margaret. Watching the dwindle. Watching. It would be dwindling number. Watching the dwindling number of pedestrians walking by, Margaret's eyes start to droop. Yeah, I feel like that's a cleaner phrasing for that. We already say waterfront, so I don't think that's necessary. Striding along. Well, waterfront would make sense. Yeah, it's... Walking along the sidewalk. Walking along the sidewalk, Hélène scans the various boats. Arriving and departing. Striding along the sidewalk, Hélène scans the various boats arriving and departing. Nothing catches her eye. So we'll say 1890, and we're changing morph to peer, so we're consistent with what we had earlier. Hey, we're on scene 69. GG's chat. We are at just about an hour into stream, so I think this might be a good time to take a short break. Duncan! Hi, hello, welcome in. How are you doing? I was lurking in your stream earlier. I hope you're able to get some work done on what you're writing. What do I need to click on? This. I am stressed. Yeah. Writing went well. That's good. All right. Yeah, as I said, I'm going to take a quick break. I will be putting up words on stream for anyone who would like to participate. There will be letters displayed. You take the letters, you make words, you put them into chat, and you try to get the most words you can. One per lock on the timer, and all of the bottom section, the words that have been found, will display in alphabetical order. I think that's everything. I don't know. You'll figure out more as you go. Good luck, have fun. I'll be back shortly. 3, 2, 1, go. I have returned. Ooh. Naughty Dog with the hard carry. Well done. How did I come in second place? Major must have been distracted. She gave up. And Duncan helping out as well. So, GG, well done, everyone. Because I can't fucking... Yeah, I saw you added a letter to the first word of the second game. That you did extended instead of or whatever. It's fine. We all have those days. Major still MVP in our heart. Exchanged. Yeah, it was exchange instead of exchanged. Okay, yeah, that can go away. That button. Hi, hello. I have returned. Alright. Let us pick up where we left off. Scene 69. Which is... Oh, no, it's... I mean, it's not that kind of scene, but it's an important scene, so... Alright, so we have Margaret on the pier, trying to watch people as they walk by. Her eyes are starting to droop because she's exhausted from traveling and whatnot. Hélène is walking along the waterfront, looking at boats and stuff, seeing if anything catches her eye. Now, we are back to the pier. Asleep on the bench, Margaret slumps over her suitcase. Yeah, I think that's probably the best way of saying it. Asleep on the bench, Margaret slumps over her briefcase. Hold on. Okay. Sleep on the bench, Margaret slumps over a suitcase. I'm going to change the phrasing of this. So we'll say, walking down the dock. Is dock a synonym for pier? No. Walkway. Walking down the... I don't like that. We want a verb, not an adjective. Present participle for to be moving in motion by moving one's feet in a slow and alternative manner. Yes. Okay, so is there another word for walkway we could use? The passageway, I guess? No. She's walking along the pier, so wood. So right now I have it written as walking down the walkway, and I just don't like walk and walk. So just walking down the pier. Alright. Sleep on the bench, Margaret slumps over her suitcase. Walking down the pier, Helene examines moored boats. We could say docked. Walking down the pier, Helene examines docked boats, paying no mind to the people. Pedestrians. Wandering past. So I'm thinking we lead into the scene with Helene, not Margaret, asleep. And just start with Helene walking down the pier. And then this is where we would introduce that Margaret is on the bench asleep. Okay. Focusing, Helene. Walks right past. Margaret. Asleep on the bench. Slumped over her suitcase. Oh, there's only one P. Reaching the end. The walkway. Alright. So, scene 69. We always have to start with that. Exterior pier, San Francisco, later, 1890. Walking down the pier, Hélène examines docked boats, paying no mind to the pedestrians wandering past. Focusing, Hélène walks right past Margaret, asleep on the bench, slumped over her suitcase. Reaching the end of the walkway, Hélène looks out over the bay. Reaching the end of the walkway, Hélène scans the bay. Margaret wakes. Discouraged and fatigued, she stands, collects her suitcase. Turning to head back to the city, she hesitates. Margaret wakes. Discouraged and fatigued, she stands, collects her suitcase. Turning to head back, she hesitates. Compelled, she glances over her shoulder to find compelled. Turning back, she hesitates. Compelled. Margaret glances over her shoulder to find Compelled, Margaret glances over her shoulder, finding Hélène standing at the end of the pier. Overwhelmed, Margaret can't move. Margaret turns. Seeing the familiar woman looking back at her. She stops. No, we need that. Alright. Compelled, Margaret glances over her shoulder, finding Hélène standing at the end of the pier. Overwhelmed, Margaret can't move. Hélène turns. Seeing the familiar woman looking back at her. She stops. Intrigued, Hélène nears Margaret. I recognize you. Taken aback, Margaret doesn't answer. From mountains, back in the east. Margaret struggles to remember. I don't... Hélène, why were you there? Margaret panics. Panicking. Okay. Panicking, Margaret lies. I escaped the hunters. Hélène, you're a witch. Well, I mean, if she sees someone she saw 200 years ago, and she looks exactly the same, that would be another indication. Taking that out. How did you escape, Margaret? I don't remember. I just found myself lost in the woods on that mountain. Skeptical. Hélène accepts her explanation. What's your name? My name? Maggie. I'm Maggie. Hélène. You have somewhere to stay? Hélène nods to Margaret's suitcase. Margaret shakes her head. Hélène nods to her suitcase. Margaret shakes her head. Hélène. Why don't you come with me? Trying to not seem too eager, Margaret nods. Okay. So, I want to scan ahead a little bit because I want to see something. Okay, so they do come back to this. No, because she doesn't say she escaped while they were transporting her. But Hélène knows because of earlier that the hunters were transporting witches. Okay, yeah, it's fine. So using boats would make sense to her. $18.90. We're on to scene 70. Sorry, no longer in scene 69, fam. Interior Diana Quitch Outpost, San Francisco, night. Hélène makes her way into the second floor, converted to be part headquarters, part residence. Margaret follows. Just FYI, but... Oh, Rad just went live? Nice. I think I know who we're rating. Thank you, Major, as always. Keeping an eye on everything for me. Margaret follows Hélène into... Alright, why does this sound weird to me? Follows Hélène into the second floor. Converted to be part headquarters, part residence. Because, like, I wouldn't call it a dwelling. I mean, quarters could kind of be... Plural of course, yeah. A commonly played university drinking game in North America. So... Is domicile on here? But domicile refers to a place which someone lived. That I want to convey that this is a place that is like part where they live and sleep, but also where they work. Barracks, I associate more with like military. Dormitory, yeah, kind of. You know, Bode? Margaret follows Hélène into the second floor lodging, converted to be part headquarters, part residence. Maybe? Or we just use dwelling. Margaret follows Hélène into the second floor dwelling, converted to be part headquarters, part residence. We don't need that, because like we said, that was past tense. Margaret follows Hélène into the second floor dwelling, part headquarters, part residence. I think that works. Noticing, Emiko nears. Emiko, find anything? Disappointed, Hélène shakes her head. Emiko, who's she? Hélène, she's like us. She needs a place to stay. Emiko looks to Hélène, questioning. With witches being abducted, I didn't want to... with witches being abducted, I didn't want to leave her on her own. Understanding, but not liking the decision, Emiko walks off. Hélène turns to Margaret. There's a spare room. Follow me. Find anything? Disappointed, Hélène shakes her head. But I think you might be onto something with the peers. Emiko. Who's she? Hélène. She's like us. She needs a place to stay. Emiko looks to Hélène, questioning. If Witch is being abducted, I didn't want to leave her on her own. Understanding but not liking the decision, Emiko. Okay. Yeah, I think that works. More or less. Hélène turns to Margaret. There's a spare room. Follow me. Hélène leads Margaret toward the bedrooms. We can just say 2. Interior, spare bedroom, dynamic witch, outpost. Moments later, in 1890. Hélène stands at the door. Margaret looks over the Spartan room. No sheets on the bed, no hangers in the closet. Hélène, I'll grab you some blankets. Margaret, what was that about witches being abducted? grab you some blankets. Margaret hesitant. Witches are being abducted? No, I don't like that response. Emiko had the idea. Emiko thought. Emiko thought that if the hunters are taking the witches, they're likely using them to transport them somewhere. Using the water to transport them somewhere. To adopt or be in a position in which one's weight is supported by one's buttocks. Flumps. I've never heard that used before. Margaret sits on the bed. Hélène, remembering. You said you were captured by the hunters. Did you hear them talk about why or what they wanted with you? Are there others? Margaret, covering. No, nothing I remember. Discouraged, Hélène nods, then exits. Okay. Interior spare bedroom, Dianiquich outpost, moments later. Hélène stands at the door. Margaret looks over the Spartan room. No sheets on the bed, no hangers in the closet. Hélène, I'll grab you some blankets. Margaret, hesitant. Witches are being abducted? No. Need a better way to get into the conversation. Fuck. Alright, let's try to get into the conversation a different way. Okay, so if we take that... When I saw you in the mountains, that wasn't the first time. No, not apostrophe. I'm on the struggle bus. It's another word for sick. Okay. Now here, I was following the lead. That's what it's... Okay. Okay. So get rid of that. Cut it all, just cut everything. Okay. Think this works better. Getting into some of the conversation. But this part we need to put in somewhere else. Alright, let's read it over, see if it works better this way. Fingers crossed. Interior spare bedroom, Diana Quitch outpost moments later, 1890. Helene stands at the door. Margaret looks over the Spartan room. No sheets on the bed, no hangers in the closet. Margaret, lucky you found me there today. Helene, our paths seem to keep crossing. Margaret, what do you mean? Helene, when I saw you in the mountains, that wasn't the first time. It was with a Shawnee. You looked sick. I didn't know if... Margaret's eyes widen. Helene, now here, down by the water, I was following a lead, and there you were. Margaret, a lead? What do you mean? Hélène. Hunters are abducting witches. Unnerved, Margaret sits on the edge of the bed. Hélène, remembering. You said you were captured by the hunters. Were they planning to take you somewhere? Did you hear them talk about why or what they wanted with you? I mean, I don't think we need. Were there others? Margaret, covering. No, nothing I remember. Discouraged, Hélène nods. Sorry, that's probably something you don't want to remember. Redirecting. I'll be right back with some blankets. Hélène exits. I think that works, more or less. We could probably put this in. Emiko thought. Emiko thought the hunters might be using the water to transport them somewhere. No, we don't need that. Okay, yeah, that... I think that clarifies some things. And I think that flow feels better because Margaret wouldn't initiate talking about the hunters. Alright, yeah. Hey, look at that, and it's right on 7 o'clock, so this is where we're going to call it tonight. So we are up to scene 72. Where we will pick up next time. I think we're under 100 scenes left to go. I should probably write down how many scenes we have, but it will probably change. 165. Currently. So we're under 100. GG's chat. Alright. I'm going to disappear. I'm assuming Rad is still live if he went live not too long ago. He is playing Halo Combat Evolved. So let's go over there. Alright. We got the raid set up. We're raiding Rad. Alright, we got the raid messages for anyone who would like to use them. First for subscribers, second one for anyone who is following. I will be back on Thursday. We will pick up editing and do some more editing. I don't know. We're just editing. That's all we got. That's all we're doing. It's editing forever. And then I'll be back on Sunday with more of our Captain Marvel 3 story. I've been trying to think about what comes next with that, and I have some ideas, so we'll start going through there. Yeah. Thank you everyone who stopped by, hung out, lurked, chatted, all the stuff, all the things. I appreciate you all. I hope you all have a good rest of your week. Till I see you next time. And after, I don't know. I hope everyone just is doing well and having a good time. Hope to see you next time. Till then,
Thanks for checking out my channel. Do whatever you want. Live your life. Hope you're happy in your body. Much love to you. And see you around.